Hello everyone, hope you are well on this Monday afternoon. I believe we are in Shtf, folks. I believe the fan is on and it's picking up speed, and it will get a lot faster. We are in a WROL situation without rule of law, and I'm going to go in more into that. I'm also going to share a verse that I believe will be very helpful, so do stay tuned for that. But first, y'all, I've been following some stories and just observing and hearing from getting emails from you guys and in the comments. And I believe we are, depending on your location, I think it's worse, of course, in some places, but it's getting bad everywhere. And I've always said this, you've probably heard me say this before, but the line between relative law and order and complete chaos, SHTF, is very, very thin. I've believed that for many years, actually. But the line is getting much thinner by the week, thinner by the day, and I believe it's just about gone, and I believe it's completely gone in many places, actually. If you really think about it and look, how long would it take for police to get to you? We had a situation, you may probably have heard about it, in downtown Chicago over the weekend, where hundreds, thousands, they call them teens, but they're criminals, basically. They organized this on social media and rampaged through the streets of Chicago. Hundreds, thousands, I've heard thousands. You had chaos in downtown Chicago on Saturday night. They call it a teen trend. A rampage is what it was. Like I said, it was organized online. They tried to get in Millennium Park. I don't believe they quite got into that. But they ran through the streets, ransacked places, damaged property, jumped up and down on cars, torched cars on fire. There was at least one case where they jumped up and down on a car with people in it trying to get through, trying to get out of there, got stuck in it, in that mess. Jumped up and down on their windshield and beat the people in the car, beat them up. Now, let me tell you something. First of all, I would try to avoid a situation, but they may not have been able to, But if I have somebody jumping up and down on my windshield and they're breaking my windshield, okay, that's like you've already broken into my home at that point. Then I fear for my life, and I'm going to take the proper action. I will eliminate the threat. Let's put it that way. I won't hesitate. In fact, as they're climbing the vehicle, they will get a warning, and then that's it. Now you could say, well, Dawg, there's hundreds of them. Okay. All right. I'm still going to take action. I'm not just going to sit there. I'm going to do something. Anyway, they were jumping on top of transit buses, the city buses. There's videos of this. You may have seen it. Automobiles vandalized, destroyed. Like I said, people attacked while in their cars. Police were vastly outnumbered. And I'm talking, there were witnesses that were saying, there were cops out here and more came. But the more and more that arrived, the more people, they were still outnumbered. So much so that they were just no effect, no factor. Only 15 arrests were made. That's so bad. That's so bad. Now, I'm not blaming law enforcement necessarily as a whole, okay? Now, in this city and in some of the other cities in the Northwest, and really not just in those areas, but in some of these cities, who they're led by, is that, and voting has consequences. I guess if you can say that it matters anymore these days, but voting has consequences. And these people, this is what you get. I mean, when you cut funding of law enforcement, you have staffing shortages. They can't cover all the bases. Now, I believe we're in a situation where, I don't know, even if cops were at full staff, I don't know. I don't think it mattered. I don't know if it would matter then. Still outnumbered. No control, without rule of law. What's to stop it from happening again and just keep happening? I mean, they know they can get away with it. There's no consequences. There's no fear of consequences. There's no respect. Society is breaking down. It has broken down. It's just not as, it just depends on where you're located as to the degree of it. The family unit is pretty much done as a whole. You know, this nation has turned its back on God. Lack of faith. It's breaking down on multiple levels, but our society has broken down, really. I believe so. Retail is all but destroyed. I'm going to do a different video on retail, and I believe it's in big danger. I'm also getting emails and people asking me what I think about, is it time to leave the United States? And they're asking me to do a video on it. I'm going to do that. And I will share my thoughts about that. Is it time to leave? There was also a mass shooting in Biloxi, Mississippi. Biloxi, Mississippi. I think it was yesterday, actually, sometime over the weekend. Mass shooting, terrible. There were at least 2 law enforcement officers shot in that one. And there were other things in Compton, California. This was Sunday night, early this morning. I think looks like this is near Los Angeles, but hundreds of, they call them youth, but they're criminals. Hundreds of this huge mob ransacked a gas station, an Arco gas station. Police vastly outnumbered. No factor. Again, no factor. You see a trend here. But witnesses said that this mob just went through this store. The employees hid in the back somewhere. I would have run out the back door. I mean, you know. But there's a video of that one too. Arco gas station, Compton, California, ransacked. You'll see it. Terrible. And again, the police there are saying they have staffing issues. Officers reacted, arrived, no factor. Too many of them. There's just too many. They're way outnumbered. What are they going to do? So what's to stop? What's to stop this from just continuing and getting a lot larger more often? Maybe where you live. You could say, well, dog, I'm not in the big cities. I'm fine. No, you're not. No, you're not. Yeah, the big cities, it's going to happen more often. But it's going to happen. It can happen anywhere. You had a mass shooting in that little town in Alabama over the weekend. Drawing a blank on the name of it again. But small towns, and I hear from you guys a lot, you know, the increased crime in your areas, and you live in rural areas out in the country, you know. And even out where we live, you know, we're in semi-rural. I mean, we're a good hour away from Metro Atlanta where we live. And I know in our neighborhood, I know people have a false sense of security. They think everything's fine. They leave their automobile, trucks, cars unlocked in their driveway. No. And so every now and then, when they hear of somebody walking through, or a little petty theft here or theft there, we don't have much of that in our neighborhood. But when you have suspicious-looking people driving through, or walking around, or acting a little odd, people are like, "Oh, wow, it's here." Yeah, it's here. Where have you been? You know, it can happen anywhere. So what do you do? What do you do? How do you prepare for that? How do you prepare for hundreds of people running into your store? Something's going to happen. You're going to have a situation to where a store owner is going to take action, and it's going to be ugly. It's going to happen. It might take citizens to do this. Police are not going to be able to do this. Again, I'm not blaming law enforcement, but there's just not enough of them, and I think we're rapidly getting into a situation to where law enforcement in general is going to throw their hands up and say, well, we can only respond to just certain things. We're already there. We can only respond to certain things. We're not going to go there, and you're on your own. In effect, that's what they'll say. You're on your own. So you got to think about security. You got to think about where you're going, what time of the day or night it is, to minimize your chances of being in the middle of something. And it's a shame we have to think that way, but we do. We have to prepare. And just be alert is the main thing. All right, I have a good verse I'm going to share. From John, the book of John, chapter 8, verse 12 says, "Again, Jesus spoke to them, saying, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life." Amen. The light of life. And remember, in the Bible it says that light, that darkness, with Jesus, darkness is as light with him. It's powerful. Think about that. All you got to do is follow him, accept him, just keep praying. That is the good news. That no matter what, and you know, is he coming? Are these the end of days? And people will say, you know, well, this is an indication. You know, lawlessness will increase, the love of many will grow cold, and you know. The bottom line, we don't know for sure. I mean, only the Father knows the day and the hour. We can see the signs, yes. Still, we don't know when. It can be, we're not guaranteed, you know. You never know. Be ready. You know, just be ready and follow Jesus, and you're going to be fine. And let's prepare, like I said, and be alert. Share your thoughts. God bless you. I'll see you soon.